The world is full of strange tales. The phrase urban legend first appeared around 1968. Many urban legends have a complete plot composed of real characters, perhaps to make them more believable. Oftentimes, these stories are told as cautionary tales. Over the years, it's caused many to tell their own versions of these events. Urban legends aren't just things of the past, however. They continue to be told to this day. In fact, the internet has made it easier to both spread and disprove these tales, even spawning entire websites dedicated to them. Although some of them are known to be fake, others believe that some are based on real events and experiences. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we take a look at these 3 mysterious legends. La Llorana, the Weeping Woman. Along the banks of the river, under the dark canopy of trees, there wanders a woman in white. She cries out for her children, and some say if you bear witness to the wails, you're surely marked for death. Her name is Maria. Maria came from a small rural town in Mexico, and although her family was poor, her beauty drew men from all over. This included a wealthy rancher who, when travelling through Maria's town, immediately spotted her and knew he must have her. The man easily won her over, showering her with gifts and attention that she had never had. At first, the marriage seemed strong. Maria and the rancher seemed happy and went on to have 2 sons. It wasn't long after this, however, that things in her marriage started to change. The rancher continued to travel. Some say he enjoyed a life of alcohol and beautiful women. Others say he went back to his ranch. There were times where he would leave Maria and their boys for months at a time, and when he did return, his attention was only for his sons. Resentment began to well up inside Maria, both for her marriage and her sons. One night, as Maria and her sons walked along the path near the river, it's said she spotted her husband in a carriage with a younger, wealthier woman. He stopped the carriage to have a few words with the boys, ignoring Maria completely before continuing down the road. And it was then Maria finally broke. In a blind rage, she grabbed her 2 boys and threw them into the river. When she had came to her senses and realized what she had done, it was far too late. She searched for them, but to no avail. They had already been carried downstream. She ran along the banks of the river, crying out for her boys. Knowing all was lost as her boys were gone and there was no reason for her husband to return now, Maria drowned herself in the river. The people of Maria's village found her the next morning and buried her in a long white funeral gown. On that very night, La Llorana's sorrowful wails began. Down by the river, people began to see a woman in a long white dress calling out, "Where are my children?" People believed that she was denied entrance to heaven without her boys, and now she's destined to walk the riverbanks in search of them forever. As this legend continued through the years, La Llorana changed from a grieving woman to one who kidnaps children who resembled her own, or children who disobeyed their parents. The tale, as it continues in the Latin community, is still told to many children to not go out after dark, for if they do, La Llorana may snatch them up and throw them into the river. The Devil's Toy Box. It started out like any other Halloween. Farmer Graves' haunted orchard was up and running, drawing in crowds as it had for years before. However, this year, Farmer Grave wanted something new, something exciting to draw in even more people. This is when he came up with the idea of the Devil's Toy Box. The Devil's Toy Box, in fact, wasn't a box at all. Instead, it was a creepy old shack. The shack had no windows, and once you stepped inside the tiny shack, you saw nothing but mirrors. There were mirrors on every surface, from floor to ceiling. Outside of the shack was a timer. It became a test to see who could stand in the shack staring at themselves in the endless mirrors. It drew crowds in, attempting to stay in the box just a bit longer than the last person. However, it's said that farmer graves didn't stay open a week after the shack had opened. There are many stories of people becoming hospitalized after exiting the shack, and it's said that no one could last more than 5 minutes. The longest time that anyone ever stayed inside the Devil's Toy Box was 4 minutes and 37 seconds. 52-year-old father Roger Heltz exited the shack and hasn't said a word since, being reduced to a wide-eyed mute. Other victims of the shack include a woman who suffered a heart attack after only a minute and a half inside. A teen boy, who had to be dragged from the shack kicking and screaming, is said to have took his life 2 weeks later. Legend has it that if you stood in the room full of mirrors, the devil would show up and steal your soul. So, is the Devil's Toy Box real? It turns out that writer Joel Farrelly has admitted to making the story up, although it doesn't stop people from telling the tale of the room covered in mirrors. People still wonder about its whereabouts, only hearing such vague details such as 3 hours from New Orleans or a long dirt road. El Duende encounters. The Irish have leprechauns and Scandinavians have their trolls. Latin America has El Duende. Standing less than 2 feet tall, El Duende can still stir up mischief. They're described as being covered in hair, including long bushy beards for the men. Some describe a wide-brimmed hat. In Latin American folklore, these mysterious creatures can hail from the forest or live within the walls of your home. They're mostly seen by children, as they tend to be mischievous and childlike themselves. They're blamed for quite a bit of the strange doings around one's home. For example, your missing keys or that important paper that you just couldn't find. This has caused some to suggest that it's these creatures playing tricks on you. In most stories, they seem fairly harmless. Some even suggest offering up your first bite to any meal to them, as to keep them on your good side. They're said to lend a helping hand around the house. Other locals have reported that if you get lost in the woods, you can call out to these creatures, and they'll help you. This seemed to remain true as long as you weren't causing harm. When boys go out to play in the woods, they're warned of the Watcher of the Woods. Little boys were told to not make too much mischief in the woods, and not to kill any animals for sport. El Duende was always watching, and if he spotted you doing anything wrong, he would appear to you and take you to his cave deep inside the woods. The only way to escape was to fool him into thinking you were one of his kind. El Duende only had 4 fingers, so if you could hide your thumb and convince him so, he would let you go. Another tale tells of the sleeping El Duende. Settling in for a nap, the creature would rest against a tree, slowly disguising themselves as the clay around them. Children would find small clay statues of the little gnomes throughout the woods and bring them home. During the night, they would sneak off back to the woods. When the children awoke and found the figurine missing, they knew for sure they had plucked one of the small gnomes. Interestingly, although these sound like childish tales, many have come forward with alleged proof of the creature's existence. There have been many sightings, pictures, and videos that point to the creature being genuine. Many people, whether they believe in folktales or not, believe in their existence. Some put them in the same category as Bigfoot or the Chupacabra. Others believe it to just be a cautionary tale to boys heading into the woods. Whether it is a tale to keep children out of trouble, or simply a tale meant to elicit fear, urban legends will continue to be told as long as stories exist. It may be because they're just fun. Some believe, however, it gives us a very keen insight into our deepest fears as humans. Perhaps it's that keeps us coming back for more. Others suggest that the majority of these stories are based on real events, and that over time they've just been reimagined and retold. So what do you make of these interesting urban legends, and do you think any of them are true? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community, whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.